We are feeling the issue of climate change now more than ever. I mean, let's just take a look right at our window. We are seeing New Jersey experiencing record levels of heat waves, which is exactly what we were saying last year. And if we look towards a national scale, we're seeing wildfires spread all throughout the country, growing more lethal and more deadly every single year, only being exacerbated by climate change. So this is an issue that we need to address now. But no matter how faithfully we rinse out that reusable bottle, how faithfully we make little changes in our life to reduce our carbon footprint, like bringing around a reusable bag, like opting for a bike instead of a car, the thermostat of our future is essentially being decided by around 100 boardrooms. The fact of the matter is, there's a scale mismatch in our perception between consumer and corporation. Why don't we take a look at Exxon's annual report, where they reported their emissions to be 540 megatons just last year, while the average American's emissions is 14 tons, a gap of 38 million fold. Or why don't we look at the research done by the Moore Institute for Plastic Pollution Research in collaboration with institutions all over the world, where they found that 100 companies account for 71% of emissions since 1988, and that 57 global brands account for over 50% of global plastic pollution. So, you don't have to take my word for this. Why don't we look at exactly what these corporations are doing about the issue of climate change? And through their actions, what they're doing is deflecting. In a research study done by Influence Map, one of the biggest databases for global and climate science related research, they found that the five oil giants, such as Exxon or Shell or BP, spend a collective amount of $195 million a year on greenwashing, a phenomenon where companies create PR campaigns to shift blame from corporation to individual. For example, researchers at Brown University that published in the influential climate science journal Climatic Change found that the oil giant BP hired PR firms to coin campaigns that place blame on individuals, coining terms that we have started using in our everyday life, such as single-use plastic, such as carbon footprint. The term carbon footprint that we have placed this huge emphasis on was coined by an oil company. And I'm not here to say that our actions are being purely done to stroke our ego or to make ourselves feel better, because the fact of the matter is it has its place. Social contagion has been proven to work. For example, economists from UCLA and Helsinki have found that neighbors are 12% more likely to buy a car within 10 days of each other. And that and researchers at the Yale School of Environmental Science connected back to this issue. I found that solar panel purchases and implementations are found in clusters, meaning that community members are more likely to buy solar panels once they see other community members do so. But this perception that social contagion is more important than political action and corporate scale action is flawed. David Wallace Wells, the author of the influential climate change book Unhallowed Earth, puts it the best. This perception is a neoliberal tinted cop-out because consumer choices cannot substitute for political action. And the simple arithmetic agrees with us. Without cuts from these 100 companies, every human on planet Earth's emissions would have to drop near zero to meet the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change's goal, cutting emissions 7% per year starting from the year 2025. And what exactly are we supposed to do? Well, the fact is there's precedent for the effect of public pressure on these companies. Take, for example, in 2015, when Exxon tried to drill oil in the Arctic, kayaktivists, or essentially environmental activists, they kayaked in front of these rigs. They even hung off a bridge in protest. And it was these shows of political protest and collective action that caused that investor pressure that made Exxon stop this whole initiative at what economists say is a near $9 billion loss. So then what I'm getting at by bringing up this story is the simple fact of shareholder power. For example, bringing it back to Exxon. In 2021, a shareholder revolt managed to elect three new directors to Exxon's board against managerial wishes from the activist hedge fund, Engine Number One. And another example, the CDP, or the formerly known as the Carbon Disclosure Program. They hit a record in 2024 of 22,000 different companies disclosing their carbon emissions and other sustainability metrics. And this is because in 2021, 680 financial institutions signed a letter urging 10,000 companies to disclose through the CDP, making this practice quasi-mandatory. So what I'm trying to say is a single stakeholder resolution can erase millions of tons, while a lifetime of metal straw use can only erase a few 100 pounds. So imagine this. We know the urgency of the climate crisis. By 2035, if we don't hit that goal of maintaining 1.5 degrees Celsius, we very well may hit 2.0 degrees if these companies don't change their practice. Coastal cities, our home state, New Jersey and New York, are at risk. Coastal insurances will be completely unmanageable. Our cities may become evacuation routes. But if we start now, if we start that collective action, if we start that collective pressure, if we start taking action now, we can avoid a future like that. So what exactly do we need to be doing? We need to be lobbying. We need to be boycotting, divesting funds through free resources, divesting like hedge funds and college funds through free resources online, such as fossil-free funds. And we need to start amplifying our habits because we need to start using the individual actions that we're doing right now as conversation starters. Our metal straws, our reusable bags, they open up conversations and they plant seeds. But that's not enough because only through collective political action and collective pressure on these corporations can we harvest. So let's aim upstream.